Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist, musician, and activist. In this audio and podcast, we're going to be sharing a message. I've been sharing the Spiritually Helping Other People podcast to inspire humanity to go through spiritual change, to learn about Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha, and to learn about the no self and selflessness, and also helping other people. So in this message, we're going to be talking about Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha, spiritual, timeless, eternal realms. Now, in life, we have the physical world and the material world, and the internal world and the external world, right? So life is full of different complex realms and different realities. It's important to learn and understand that Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha lives in the spiritual, timeless, eternal realm. So they're living in a place that's beyond time, beyond space, and beyond earth. Now, Jehovah, the Lord God of all creation, wants us to go through a spiritual change. If we don't go through a spiritual change, we can't discover what life is all about and who we are as a human being. So to connect to Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha in the spiritual realms, we need to go through a spiritual change. That's why spiritual change becomes the most important thing in life. All human beings are meant to change, and all human beings are meant to go through a spiritual change. Helping other people, helping animals, and helping the universe is very important work to do. And we can only do what Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha has called us to do once we've gone through a spiritual change. So it's very important within your life that you learn that spiritual change is very important. And we need to connect with Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha in the spiritual realms. So it's important to pray, it's important to do meditation, mindfulness, walking, and journaling, the 5 spiritual practices. It's important, once we've gone through a spiritual change and a spiritual awakening and transformation, that we do the 5 levels of helping other people. Level 1, the volunteering, the good level in helping other people. Level 2, jobs, careers, employments, the great level in helping other people. Level 3, business, entrepreneurship, the highest level in helping other people. Level 4, faith and spiritual, the spiritual levels in helping other people. And level 5, spiritually helping other people who helping other people, the teaching level in helping other people. Now it's so important that we go through a spiritual change by doing the 5 spiritual practices: prayer, meditation, mindfulness, walking. Once we've gone through a spiritual change, we do the 5 levels of helping other people. Jehovah, Jesus Christ, and Buddha is expecting us to do a contribution while we're on earth. All human beings are meant to do a contribution. That's our life purpose and our destiny. In life, there's different ways of how you can contribute, because there's different realms, like I said, the material, the physical, the internal, and external. But it's important, once we find who we are and know ourselves and selflessness, understand who we are as a human being, which is know thyself, which comes through spiritual change, spiritual transformation, spiritual awakening, then we can discover our spiritual calling in life and spiritual life purpose. Now, focus your life on the contributions to others, the animals, the universe. Focus your life on doing what Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha has called you to do. Focus your life on making a difference and a contribution and helping others. By doing that, you'll be connecting with Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha, and entering into the spiritual, timeless, eternal realms. Now, in life, we have birth, life, death, rebirth. So how you live your life day to day matters, and what you do in your day to day life matters. Every day you should be helping other people, helping the animals, helping the universe in some way, and helping creation. And by going through a spiritual change and by understanding yourself as a human being, your mistakes, your failures, your successes, your disappointments, your hardships, your struggles, your suffering, pains, and adversities, then we can actually be the light into the world, because we've gone through all the pains, all the suffering, all the feelings, all the emotions, all the psychological damage and challenges and difficulties and struggles that we've been through, to help us be a light to somebody else and to help other people. Now, it's so important to go through a spiritual change, and psychological damage doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you've gone through a lot of suffering, pain, and adversity. So we can overcome this. We can find spiritual freedom and spiritual liberation. But we have to first discover Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha. So also spiritual text becomes very important, like the Bible, like reading Buddhist books, like reading spiritual and religious books will become very important. And once basically we need spiritual knowledge and wisdom to do the work for Jesus Christ and God and Jehovah. The spiritual knowledge and wisdom comes when we've gone through a spiritual change. So the spiritual change becomes the most important thing. That's when we can connect to the higher realms in life. Our life is very short. No human being lives to 150 years. That means we're all going to die between the ages of 1 to maybe 150, right? We're all going to pass away and life is going to continue. How you live your life day to day matters, and what you do in your day to day life matters. So it matters of who you become, what you do, how you live your life, how do you live your spiritual actions and spiritual intentions, and how do you help other people, help the animals, and help the universe. If you do what Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha has called you to do, then the blessings of life will come into your life and you'll see what you truly are meant to do as a human being. Freedom from the known is freedom from the self. Freedom from the self is a psychological change and a psyche change. So if you change yourself, change your life, change your mentality, change your behavior and characteristics, then you can connect to the faith spiritual realms, which is the spiritual, timeless, eternal realms where Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha lives. Jesus is still alive. Jehovah is the Lord of all creation, so he has no birth, he has no death. He's an eternal being, so he's always going to be living. And then Buddha obviously passed away, but his teachings and his messages still live on. So it matters what we do in our lives and who we are in our lives and how we live our lives. So it's important to focus on your spiritual contributions, helping other people, helping the animals, helping the universe. Focus on what you're spiritually called to do. Start to do more prayer, meditation, mindfulness, walking and journaling, the 5 spiritual practices, and start helping other people, helping humanity, helping the universe in some way. And focus your life on the spiritual contributions, the differences, the impact and significance you can have. And Jehovah, the Lord of God of all creation, will bless you and be there for you. And if you have gone through suffering, pain, hardship, psychological damage, challenges, difficulties, the spiritual change is how you find spiritual freedom and spiritual liberation. So the most important thing to learn to connect to Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha, we must go through a spiritual change and we must go through a spiritual awakening. Life can become very hard at times. Life can become very difficult at times. But we can free ourselves from the self and discover the no self and selflessness, which is a spiritual transformation in the psyche and the psychological mind. So focus on your spiritual contributions, help Jehovah, help Jesus Christ, help Buddha, live your life where you're making a difference, live your life where you're living your spiritual legacy now, and focus on what you can do for the Lord. And thank you for listening to the podcast, thank you for checking out the audios, and thank you now. Bye now, thank you, bye.